Could you start to summarize the New Age Deception lecture you've been presenting in various cities around the country?
Absolutely. I've given a presentation now a few times called New Age Bullshit and the Suppression of the Sacred Masculine. And I apologize if that language isn't allowed on the AM and FM affiliates. What this presentation is, it's dispelling a lot of false so-called spiritual teachings of the movement known as the New Age movement. It's feel-good pseudo-spirituality. And it's being propagated by many, many, many teachers out there so that they can't actually make any real change happen in the world. And therefore, the sacred masculine of action leading to real change in the world is suppressed, hence the subtitle, The Suppression of the Sacred Masculine. It was originally 10. My new presentation, which is going to be out very soon, that I gave in Asheville, North Carolina last weekend, it contains 15 New Age deceptions, which I'll briefly outline here. What I do in the presentation, for those of you who want to go and check it out on my website, whatonearthishappening.com is my website, and you could see this presentation there, is I outline the deception, and then I balance the deception with what I call a New Age correction. This is the correction to the erroneous spiritual teaching, or the deceptive spiritual teaching, that is given by the New Age community. And then I talk about the real intended meaning, or the real spiritual message that needs to be understood regarding that concept that they are teaching in a distorted sense. So here are the deceptions in a very brief outline. The first is ignore the negative. If it's negative, I don't want to see it, hear it, talk about it, certainly not discuss it with other people, because then I'm bringing people down, when in fact ignoring the negative is what creates further ignorance and chaotic outcomes in society if we just ignore reality. Like I like to say, you can ignore reality but not without consequence. You have to respect existence or expect resistance from the universe. Respect the existence of that which is, or expect resistance from the nature of everything. Expect resistance from the universe itself, creating negative experience in your life. So that's ignore the negative. Never get angry. Okay? There's no purpose or role for the emotion of anger. And I talk about we need righteous indignation if we're going to create real change to motivate us to take action. Number 3 is we're all one, so it's all good. This is moral relativism. Everything is good. There's no such thing as right and wrong. Those are subjective judgments that have nothing to do with something that's objective and existing in nature. Well, there is objective right and wrong. And the reason that we're living in a prison societally is because people don't understand the law of freedom, that as moral behavior in the aggregate of a society increases, freedom for that society increases, and as immoral behavior increases, slavery increases. So morality and freedom are directly proportional to each other. New Age deception number 4 is you can never really know. This is called solipsism. To obtain actual knowledge of anything is not really possible. It's all just subjective, and it's all just opinion, and everybody's viewpoint is equally as valid. The notion that someone else's totally uneducated opinion, totally uninformed opinion, is as good as someone else's multiple decades of research and knowledge. Okay? So that's solipsism. 5, it's all an illusion. Nothing's real, so nothing matters. Well, at some deep level of non-differentiation, down at the quantum level, yeah, everything is one. I get that. But that doesn't mean that nothing matters. The experience here is why spirit incarnates in the physical domain. This is a construct for learning and experience of the essence of who we are. So that's New Age Deception 5. New Age Deception 6, evil is necessary. So many New Agers believe this nonsense. This is a misapplication of the understanding of polarity, that polarity is one thing expressing itself in different scales of differentiation. And that doesn't mean you go into one form of polarity and stay there, which is what evil is. Okay? It's a misunderstanding of the laws of karma, like people are somehow being punished for what they did and we shouldn't step in and stop evil when it's happening. Like you see the injustices in the Hindu caste system and they say, oh, it's all karma from past lives. This is all nonsense. And it's a misunderstanding of free will. It's a dismissal of free will. Evil is not something that has to happen. It's a choice. It's a behavioral choice. Number 7, accept everything and never resist. And that's what it's all ultimately about. The whole New Age movement's a religion to get people to stand down and not take real action in the world, not use their masculine energy to make things change. New Age deception number 8 is the watered-down version of the laws of attraction. Again, natural law is the real law of attraction and how to apply it in your life. This watered-down version, the secret as it's propagated by the New Age movement, I want to get what's mine. I want to have the better job, the better clothes, the better house, etc. It's all very ego-oriented, service to self-oriented, whereas the real law of attraction is not only service to others-oriented, it's service to truth-oriented. So the real secret is natural law, and understanding that helps you to come into contact with the real laws of attraction. Number 9, no one is ever to blame. Blame does not exist. Yeah. And what this really teaches people is that responsibility doesn't really exist, and there's no such thing as moral culpability. People who are actually responsible for harm that was done to others. And we have to understand moral culpability in a very straightforward and streetwise way. The person who took the action is ultimately morally responsible for the harm that was caused by that action. So there is such a thing as blame. There is such a thing as culpability. It exists. I'm not saying to just dwell in that and let that eat you up, but certain people are to blame for harmful actions that they take. Common sense. Number 10, the false notion of forgiveness. To just keep excusing people endlessly for wrongs that they do. That's not real forgiveness. Real forgiveness is a two-way street that involves an apology, first and foremost on the part of the wrongdoer to the one that they wronged, and to claim that they're not going to do that action again. They're going to desist in that harmful action. Then you can forgive them. That's real forgiveness. Somebody has to offer something first, an apology, and then you're forgiving them. You're saying, I accept your word that you're not going to do this anymore, and therefore, we're okay. We're even. I don't have to take any action against you. I'll give you another chance to act right. That's 10. 11, chaos should be feared. No, chaos is actually a teacher. Making mistakes is one of the best ways that we learn. Number 12, truth doesn't need to be defended. You hear this constantly in the New Age circles. Yes, truth does need to be defended because it's constantly under attack by lies, mind control, disinformation, etc. Of course, we need to speak the truth at all times and places because truth is constantly under attack in the modern world. 13, enlightenment's only about changing yourself and feeling good all the time. This is that notion of the New Age religion as feel-good spirituality. If you're enlightened, you should never feel bad. You should always feel good. It should always be making you uplifted like you've just done some kind of great drug. No, that's not what enlightenment is. As a matter of fact, enlightenment can be very, very, very uncomfortable, especially when most other people are still dwelling in total darkness. You have to use that discomfort to motivate yourself to educate other people because that's what the real great work is the education of others. And most people don't want to do that work. They look at that and say, oh, my God, that's what you're telling me because I have this knowledge. That's now my responsibility? Yeah, that is. When you have knowledge, your responsibility is to educate your fellow man. And most people don't want to hear that either. Number 14, love is all you need. No, knowledge you need. You need courage. You need willpower to act properly, in the world, to take right action. So there's other things you need other than love. Love is not everything. Care is very important, and it is the ultimate generator of our experience, what we care enough about to then take action upon. Don't get me wrong. Love is the expansive force of consciousness, and it is absolutely required, but it's not all that's required. And this is another subtle deception that you hear constantly propagated by the New Age. And then finally, number 15, I had a little bit of fun with this, making some jokes about all the different variants of saviors that are going to come to rescue us. New Age Deception 15 is that a savior is coming any day now, So I went into all the different saviors that are prophesied to come and save humanity from its own ignorance in my last presentation on this topic. Listed all these saviors and said, they're just tripping over each other to come and rescue us from ourselves. We have to do it. We have to do that work, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going to be done for us externally. When you look for that, you're just externalizing your power to some mythical entity, deity, or force that isn't interested in propping you up and being responsible for your spiritual uplift. That's the New Age deceptions in a nutshell.
Absolutely. Mark Passio, radio host, independent researcher, and director of the site whatonearthishappening.com. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Jeff, thank you so much for providing the opportunity.